Right, first of all, I'm just going to apologise for the lighting in here. I'm using LED lights and I've got a bit of a phasing on the camera. You might just see it phasing. Anyway, I've seen a number of people making tongs out of a bit of flat. So here I've got a bit of 30x10 by 450 long. And they tend to make bolt tongs where they'll scallop this area here, then another little scallop, put their hinge pin through and make their bolt tongs. So I thought I'd have a go. Anyway, I'm going to be using the fly press. So what I've got here in the fly press is a 45mm bit of round, which is mounted in the fly press. Let me just get that. So I've got a bit of 45mm round here. I've got just a bit of stops, 16mm or 5/8 stops I put in there. A stop block, so when I put the steel in, I can just push it up against the block. There's nothing holding it, it's just gives me a stop for where I want. So what I've done is I've chalked in the middle of the 45mm block, what is the outside of the 45mm, and then I've got 25mm to my stop there. So hopefully when I do this, I'll be left with 25mm or so for the tongs, for the actual gripping part of the tongs on the right. Anyway, we'll have a go at heating this up and doing the first scallop. The thing is, it's going to grow off to the right, which will then push this block, which doesn't matter, it's okay. And these spacer blocks will just stop, limit how much I squash the piece of work down. So as well as setting that up there, I've also put a little packing here to support this end of the workpiece. So far I've got it to this point where we've got that section scalloped down and the opposing side scalloped down, which is actually leaving us quite a bit here. Let's get a tape measure. So it's actually leaving us a good 25mm. Hang on, let's do it this way. So yeah, that's leaving us a good 25mm or so there. And it should be the same. We do that. 25mm the other end, so that's actually worked out quite nicely. So we got that scallop there. And we got that scallop there. Next thing is to scallop it about here. Let's go. Next thing is to scallop it about, I guess, there. So we end up with a place where we can put a rivet about there. So that'll be the next thing. Set the tooling up to do a scallop there. So I think I've either got a 10mm or 12mm tooling I can use to scallop down. Right, this is how far I got yesterday. So I've done both ends with this bit of bar. I've actually marked out in cold, so you can see here I've marked out cold where I'll subsequently need to split it. But what I realised yesterday is when I swaged this bit down here and then decided to hammer out the bulges, I should have actually used the bulge because this bit needs to bend this way. So the rivet hole should be more in line with the back of the bar. So yeah, I should have used all that bulged material to bend it round. Again, both ends. So now when I bend this section, I may thin out one side or the other. Might probably thin out this side when I bend it because there isn't sufficient material there. But anyway, we'll see. That rivet hole looks alright. That rivet hole looks alright, but I made a right balls up on one of them. Let's have a look. It wasn't that one, that one's alright. It's this one. I made a right old balls up. I didn't line up my two rivet holes, my punches. What I might do in future is set up the tooling in the fly press so I have a top and bottom punch, so I can't get them misaligned. So anyway, I'll probably heat this up in a bit and then bend this round before I split it, so get this, the centre of the rivet hole possibly in line with this. We'll see. But anyway, it's getting there. It's not looking too bad. So, right. Yesterday I split the steel down the middle, but regrettably my battery went flat. So I split it in two. I've already tidied up slightly the split, so I need to tidy that up a bit more today. Got a bit of a thing I need to take out there. I may even grind that bit out. And that bit, just a bit of rough. And we'll continue on with making these tongs. Right, just decided to bring the tongs down a bit. Right, this is where we are at the moment. I'll just put a bolt through temporarily just to hold it. So these could still possibly do with drawing out a bit further. What I'd like to do is, as I said earlier in the movie, bend it there. So I'm going to have to use some gas to localise the heat. But actually bend it there and bend it there to bring the handles round at that. should bring us around nicely. Right, in other videos I've seen them tend to split down the ends of these once they've assembled the tongs, but I'm actually going to do it now before I do anything like that. So I've got my thing that clamps in the vise, so I'm going to heat up, clamp like that, and then come in with whichever chisel I'm going to use and split down the middle. I've actually got a very sharp, narrow cutter here, which I might use to split. Might be easiest. It's made out of H13, so it should take the heat. One thing I'll do for starters, I just need to offset the handles by 5mm. So I've made up a block here with a 5mm recess. I'll put this block on top of the handle and then press it down to give it a 5mm offset. That has given us a 5mm offset. That's just giving us the 5mm offset. Just knock it off now. So I think we're ready for a rivet now. I've just been doing a little alignment with a gas torch in a vise outside. It was just we had a bit of a twist in on certain bits, so everything lines up now. Looking good. I'll use one of my homemade rivets to replace this bolt. This bolt locks up as we start opening it up. Then we'll heat it up and then clamp it in the vise across some stock. This is 40mm stock, and get things lined up, close up that bit of a gap we have there and tune it for 40mm. So yeah, I'm pleased so far. Looking good. Right, off camera, I decided to round the actual handles off on these pair of tongs. So I actually made up a new piece of tooling. It's got a 12mm and an 11.5mm kind of hole through it. So it goes in the fly press. It's tapered nicely on the lead and the trail and also on the sides for rounding steel off. It's just in this fly press, with having so much weight on it, it's got a slow swing. You've got to put a lot of effort into swinging the handle to get any progress. Anyway, nice new set of dies, which I've used for rounding the handles of the tongs. Right, so now we're ready for doing the rivet. What I've got here is one of the rivets. You'll see one of my previous videos on how to make these rivets. So here I have a rivet. This is a rivet bottom with a slight thing in it. So I put that, there's a circular recess in the top punch tool. So we'll put that there. I've got it supported on blocks either end, and hopefully, I'm just going to check if this is in focus. Looks like it's in focus. What I'm going to do is use the oxypropane, heat the rivet up, and then rivet it over. So then I'll rivet in place. And as per usual, they're nice and tight, so I have to use some heat now, heat them up, and then work the tongs to free them off. Again, just as easy to do this in the forge. That's nice and free. Right, I'll just do the same whilst I'm putting it in the water. Right. So we now have our tongs riveted. That was the top of the rivet. Sorry, that was the top, and we've just riveted that side. I've already put my touch mark and year on it. So now we just need to do the final setting up of the V bits, or whatever you call them, for the stock. I'm going to use in these. Right, so I'm going to set these tongs up for 40mm stock. At the moment, way too loose. So the first thing I need to do is just bring these in a bit to start with. So I'll heat it up, put it on the anvil, just knock them round a bit, so we at least get it roughly right. Then we'll heat it up, put it in the vise and clamp it onto the 40mm stock to align everything up, and then we can just tailor the sides of the jaws accordingly, just by knocking them in onto the stock. Anyway, that's where we are at the moment, and we'll have a go at just tailoring them. Right, after a lot of faffing about, I finally got them set up for the 40mm. We're still very hot at the moment. So this is a 40mm. And they fit quite nicely. So, another pair of tongs. So this is my latest pair of tongs. I've just put a bit of beeswax on it. Beeswax and linseed oil. So there we go. My latest tongs.